Curious about becoming a notary in Wisconsin? Imagine starting a flexible career that earns respect and trust in literally just a few steps. Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to unpack exactly how you can build that trusted career. We'll break down the official state guidelines so you can walk away and complete this process with absolute confidence. So let's just dive right into it. Whether you're looking to boost your resume, maybe serve your community, or even just add a brand new revenue stream, becoming a notary public is, quite honestly, an incredibly practical move. You're going to get some real actionable value today. We'll learn how to navigate the state requirements smoothly and, arguably more importantly, how to avoid those really common traps that end up delaying applications.
Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover Wisconsin notary basics, check your eligibility, talk about training and exams, look at the tools and costs, walk through the actual application process, and finish up with some duties and best practices. All right, kicking things off with Part 1, Wisconsin Notary Basics and Understanding the Two Paths to a Commission.
At its core, what is a notary? Basically, you're acting as an official, unbiased witness. Your main job is to help prevent fraud in super important legal and personal transactions. You are literally an officer commissioned by the state. You're the person folks turn to when they absolutely need to ensure a document is authentic.
Now, Wisconsin actually offers two distinct paths to get there. If you're a general resident, you're looking at a standard 4-year term. Easy enough. But if you happen to be an attorney licensed in Wisconsin, your commission is permanent. Yeah, it never expires as long as your law license stays active, which is a pretty cool perk.
Moving on to Part 2, checking your eligibility. Basically, do you qualify for the public trust? The basic requirements here are actually really straightforward. You've got to be 18, a U.S. resident, and notice I said U.S. resident. You don't even have to be a Wisconsin resident to apply, and you need an 8th grade education equivalent. But listen, you really need to pay close attention to the background check aspect. The state is incredibly strict about criminal records, especially anything involving fraud or violating the public trust. Why? Because under Wisconsin rules of evidence, a notary's credibility as a witness is absolutely paramount in court. Think about it. If a notary's truthfulness can be questioned, well, every single document they've ever touched could be legally challenged. So a clean record is a must.
Okay, Part 3, Training and Exam Requirements. Time to hit the books. To make sure you know the rules inside and out, the state provides a free online tutorial. It covers the necessary chapters of the Wisconsin statutes. And yes, you do have to pass a 30-question exam at the end of it. But hey, the great news? You can take this exam as many times as you need to until you pass. It's totally designed for you to succeed, not to trip you up. There is a benchmark, though. You have to score at least a 90% on that exam. Once you nail that, you'll just print out your certificate of completion to toss into your application package. Definitely hold on to that piece of paper. Which brings us to Part 4, Tools, Costs, and Bonds. Let's look at what you need and, of course, what it costs. Honestly, the financial barrier to entry here is extremely low compared to the value you're getting. For roughly $75, the whole shebang is covered: your state application fee, your required bond, and even your custom stamp. If you're an attorney taking that permanent path we mentioned earlier, you skip the bond entirely, but you do pay a $50 application fee and $3 for a Supreme Court certificate of good standing.
Now let's talk about your absolute most important tool, your official stamp. When you're ordering your custom stamp from a vendor, you have to follow some incredibly strict naming rules. It has to say Notary Public, it has to say State of Wisconsin, and it must include your full current legal last name. And here's a massive trap a lot of people fall into. Do not include any professional titles. None. Even if you're an attorney, no doctor, no CPA, no ESC allowed on that stamp. Just your name.
Next up is the $500 surety bond. This is mandatory for all 4-year applicants. But keep in mind, this bond protects the public, not you. If you make a mistake that ends up costing someone money, the bond is what covers them. Because of that, a lot of notaries actually choose to buy optional errors and omissions insurance, or E&O insurance, just for their own personal protection against false claims. It's definitely something to consider.
All right, Part 5, the application process. Let's run through your step-by-step checklist. This is where all those pieces finally come together. Notice steps 2 and 3 in particular. You actually have to buy your stamp before you apply. Why? Because the state requires a physical incompression of it stamped right onto your application form. Kind of wild, right? Once your form is stamped, you'll take an oath of office in front of a current notary, get your bond signed, and then you just submit the whole package to the state.
Oh, and you can even upload all this stuff through their online portal to make it super easy.
For the attorneys tuning in, your process is just a bit more streamlined. You get to skip the bond and the oath. Just remember, though, that your certificate of good standing from the Supreme Court has to be dated within 2 months of your application. So it's a faster track, for sure, but that paperwork precision is still absolutely crucial. And finally, Part 6, Duties and Best Practices. You're commissioned. Now what?
Well, you can now perform essential acts like taking acknowledgments, administering oaths, and certifying copies. Plus, you have statewide jurisdiction. That means you can operate in any county across Wisconsin. But remember the golden rule here. You physically have to be located within Wisconsin borders when you perform the notarization. That applies even if you're doing it remotely online.
And actually, speaking of online, let's talk about earning potential for a second. While standard in-person acts are capped at a $5 fee, you can charge up to $25 per act if you take the extra steps to register for remote online notarization. You just have to use their approved secure technology platforms. This is a total game changer because it allows you to notarize documents for clients completely remotely, which obviously expands your reach in a big way.
Before we wrap up, here's a really crucial piece of professional advice. Keep a logbook or journal. It is your best defense if a notarization is ever questioned in court, making it a highly recommended best practice. Even though Wisconsin law doesn't strictly force you to keep one for standard in-person acts, think of it as your paper trail. If a signature you witnessed gets challenged years down the line, that journal is your rock-solid proof that you followed the law perfectly.
So the path is clear, the costs are super low, and the value this brings to your career and community is just immense. As a quick reminder, state regulations can change, and this explainer is purely for informational purposes. So please, always consult official Wisconsin DFI resources or legal experts for the most current laws before you take the leap. But ask yourself, now that you have the exact blueprint, are you ready to become an official guardian of the public trust?